So Sony unveiled the PS5 Pro yesterday, and I just want to give my thoughts on the console. Do I think it's worth the price, the tall price that they're asking for? Do I think the console or the premise of a Pro console this gen is justified? I said justified or jetified at the same. Do I think a Pro model this generation makes sense? And do I think this could be Sony testing the waters on pricing for next generation? So let's just start with the hardware specs. And I'm going to put the Mark Cerny video in the background so you have to look at my face for the entire video. But when it comes to the GPU side of things, the GPU is going to have 67% more compute units than the PS5, 28% faster memory, allowing up to 45% faster rendering. I do want to preface, I am not no tech expert, so I'm very surface level when it comes to technology, so I'm not going to do any deep dive on the hardware and what they're offering. I'm just going to go off what they presented and what they suggested would be the performance of what we can expect from the actual experience or when you're actually playing the game. The ray tracing is going to be improved. They've said that it's going to be a more dynamic reflection and refraction of light. This allows rays to be cast at double and at times triple the speeds of the current PS5 model or PS5 console. They are introducing their own version of an AI-driven upscaling called the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. And I believe think of this as your FSR, your DLSS, and your XESS, I think, for Intel. Again, I'm not the tech guy. And that's pretty much about it. I believe that their main selling point, or the best way to look at this console, is imagine taking your graphics option, your fidelity option, your visuals, so on and so forth, and being able to merge those two together, maybe more consistent 60 FPS, while also being able to improve the visual and the 4K side of things. Now, and I do want to say, using older games to showcase the PS5 Pro, I don't know, maybe if you had something newer to show off, that'd be kind of cool. Just to say, hey, here's something that's awesome, and here's this new thing that plays even better on the PS5 Pro, but we didn't get that. And the price, before we move on, because we're talking about the improved hardware, what is this going to cost you? It's going to cost you $700 before taxes, of course. And if you are a person who has a physical game collection, you will have to pay an additional $80 for the disc drive. And for $700, you still don't get the vertical stand. I just find it hilarious to drop $700 and there's still like the vertical stand sold separately. Anyway, so I just want to add this bit in. The console will also come with a 2TB solution. So for $700, you're getting a stronger PS5 console on top of more storage. And compared to things that Microsoft is offering, because that was a discussion I've seen brought up as well, the Series X with 2TB all digital will cost $600. So on one side you have a $600 Xbox, and on another side you have a $700 PS5. But this is a PS5 Pro, so do with that as you will. And yeah, and I know some people will say, hey, you know, if you have a PS5, you can trade it in. So 700 isn't the, you know, the actual price point, or some type of rhetoric of some sort of that. But it's better to look at the pricing on new people who are investing into the ecosystem at the base price of $700. Maybe not everyone's going to get the best trade-in value for the PS5. So just to avoid, you know, all this buts and maybes and, you know, this and that, we're just going to say it's $700. $800 if you get the disc drive. Who knows how much more if you get the vertical stand. I can't. And the console will feature a 2TB SSD. So with all that out of the way, I want to jump to my bullet points because I tend to be all over the place. I've recorded this probably like 20 times like I'm doing now. Does the console make sense? So with last generation being the first and only generation, I believe, I think maybe the Genesis or something has some mid-gen upgrade or something like that for power. Don't quote me on that one. The PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X there was a good case for those consoles to be released. If I recall correctly, a lot of people were saying that those consoles were extremely underpowered on the day of their release. Essentially, the base Xbox One especially was something. I will say that was something else. So there was definitely a case to be had on the PS5 or the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One S or One X releasing. I have the PS4 Pro. My brother has the base PS4, and in some games, such as God of War Ragnarok, it's not the best performance, obviously, because it's still a PS4 Pro. But being able to play on a graphics option or performance option on the PS4 Pro model versus the PS4 standard that didn't have the option, I believe it was a much better experience. Like I said, not a consistent 60, but being able to play at higher frame rates and your VSync and all that fun stuff turned on was a much better experience than not having it on the base PS4, because I had borrowed it from him and we did all the stuff. So what I'm getting is that previous generation, I think there was a solid case to be had. This gen, I don't really see that. I know there are some games that are launching without a performance option or other graphical options for players, whether it be 4K option at 30 or 1080p or whatever the resolution at 60 FPS. But on average, I would say we have plenty of games that have that option of 60 FPS, or rather performance or graphics and resolution, etc. And I don't see that being, how can I put it? I don't see that being a rare thing with newer games coming out. I know there are some exceptions. I know Dragon's Dogma 2, I think was graphics only. I know they put some patches out. I haven't been back to it myself, so I can't really speak on that one. Hellblade 2 had only a graphics mode, I believe. I know some people are speaking about GTA 6 as a game that they could have sold the PS4 Pro with, or sold the PS4 alongside, or marketed, however you want to put that, in terms of like, hey, PS5 Pro is the only place you can play GTA 6 at 60 FPS, but we don't have the performance targets and all that fun jazz when it comes to the base consoles, how the PS5 and the One X, the Series X, thank you Microsoft, the Series X will handle GTA 6. So using it as a talking point of sorts on how to better sell the console, I don't think is a really good thing to go with. So, but again, walking it back, I don't really see the purpose of this console at all. Again, last gen, you could definitely make a case for the PS4 Pro and One X, but this generation, not so much, especially at $700. That being said, who is this console for? The enthusiasts, obviously. For those who want the best of the best for their console experience. I know people say if you want the best of the best, go to PC, but we're not going to get on that topic. We just know people like consoles for a reason, and people play on PC for a reason. But in terms of people who don't have a PlayStation, maybe they'll see interest in this if they have money to spend. They just want the best gaming experience. But that's pretty much who I really think this console is for. Not saying anything surprising at all. Do I think they're expecting this thing to be the top seller? Obviously not. Similar to last gen, I doubt Microsoft or PlayStation expected their Pro models to outsell their base cheaper models. Obviously that's not the case. But that being said, 700, and yeah, I mean, that's who it is. Like, if you really have to have the best of the best, you gotta have 60 FPS. You want to have graphics as high as possible. You want resolutions as high as possible. Sure, that's who this console is for. Again, me personally, I don't really see the purpose of the console because these current ones, some people say, haven't been pushed to their limits yet. Personally, am I getting it? Probably not. I say probably because I don't want to lock myself into a decision, but highly unlikely because, again, as long as the base PS5 continues to offer performance mode for a good set of games, that's pretty much all I really care about. Performance first and foremost. Hopefully, if it's locked to 60 FPS or very little frame drops. If it was the norm, like going forward, every game release, unless it was on the PS5 Pro, was graphics only and fidelity resolution only, then I could probably see some case to be had. But I don't see that happening. If anything, I think PlayStation has, don't quote me on this, like has done a better job with offering very performance option or graphical options for players on their exclusives. So the price of $700 and the base model basically doing what I wanted to do, which is 60 FPS performance mode, I don't really see myself picking this up. Again, if you're an enthusiast out there, you got the money to spend, more power to you, but I really don't. Again, $700 is a lot of money for a console. And on that note, could this be could this be PlayStation's attempt to test the waters of a $700 console for next generation prices. And I hope that's not the case. I know with the PS3 generation, they tested the waters of a, was it $599 console, and we all know how that went, right? So could this be the norm of next gen in terms of pricing? I really hope not. Because it's anything that'll definitely push me more into the PC side of things, with PlayStation putting their games on PC, Xbox already putting all their games on PC. If I'm dropping 700 on two consoles, I might as well get one PC that can handle multiple games instead of just, you know, two separate consoles. So, but again, only time will definitely tell on that matter. I don't want to assume that's going to be the case, but again, just speaking on, could that be a possibility? Of course, obviously, especially with prices these days, and both manufacturers even increasing their consoles in certain regions even further. So that possibility of a 600, 700 next generation or PS6 is definitely a possibility. I just hope not. So with all that being said, again, just to bring things back into full circle, does this console make sense? Not really, personally. Like, not really. It's not like these consoles are severely underpowered. Again, depending on who you ask, I suppose. But who is this for? Definitely the enthusiasts out there who want the best of the best for their console experience, and they got money to spend. Do I see value in getting it myself? Not really. I'd rather just have the base PS5. I don't have a PS5 yet because all the games I want to play were on PS4, and I have a PS5 Pro. And can Sony be testing the waters in terms of potential pricing for next generation consoles? And I hope not. It will be interesting to see how the gaming space reacts when the console comes out. You know, get ready for all the console wars of PS5 Pro versus the Series X and all that fun jazz. And last thing that I don't think I touched on was, should Microsoft retaliate? No. Just quickly, no. I believe Phil has said the Series S and the Series X is basically this gen's version of One X and the One S, so we don't need a Xbox Series X Super Deluxe Edition, because what is that going to be, $700, $800? No. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and end the video here. Don't want it to go on too much longer. Comment down below if you made it this far on whether or not you're interested in the PS5 Pro. If not, explain why. If so, same thing, explain why. And thanks for checking out the video, and until next time.
$599 US.